Hey, mates, welcome once again into the Little Dum Dum Club for another week. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Tommy Dasilo. Sitting next to me, the other half of the program, Carl Chandler.
G'day, dickhead.
Hey, I've seen something today that I would like your opinion on.
Sure.
I'd like to know if this is weird or if it's just me. I was in my local milk bar buying some stuff, and on the counter next to the cash register, they've got a little tip jar.
Right.
What do you think of that? I find that very odd for a business to just have a guy who's just selling things.
Yeah.
To have a tip jar set up.
Yeah.
Is that a legitimate thing or am I weird?
I think you find it weird because you definitely don't have the money to be tipping anyone.
But
You don't even have the money to be buying the milk to start
Yeah,
with.
exactly.
So,
yeah, well, Mum was with me, so yeah. But so, a tip generally is like, this is exceptional service. You've gone above and beyond. I want to show my appreciation.
Sure.
What's a milk bar doing to make you go, like you walk up with a packet of Snakes Alive and he's like, that's $2, thanks. And you're like, mate, you handled that with aplomb.
No, thanks for making the milk face around the right way in the fridge so I could see the expiry date. Here's a little something for yourself.
Hey, thanks for putting the most recent ones up the front.
Yeah.
So then I get stung with a thing of milk that's going to expire in 2 days.
Thanks for putting the Zoo magazines down low enough that I can sort of thumb through it.
I didn't know that was an option, though, to just do that, because it's basically what he's doing is it's just kind of a very elaborate busking act. You know what I mean? He's just like selling his stuff.
Yeah.
But it's given me an idea. We got this live podcast coming up this Saturday, July the 18th.
How did I know this was going to come back to you asking for money?
Yeah. What if we just put a little hat up the front of the stage, People are already paying.
To be fair, we're already charging people to come in and then we're double dipping. Is that the new plan?
But that's what the milk bar's doing. You're already paying for the service.
All right.
If there's a zinger that you particularly like,
you're
get me a beauty with a particularly good gag, you go and chuck a $2 coin in there.
You are paying for a product and then you're asking for a bit of service money, whereas we're providing a service and then we want service money as well.
Yeah, sure.
All right, okay. Well, let's put a couple of hats all around the room. Let's put one out the front of the toilet. Let's put one at the stage. Exit by donation as well.
So we're getting credit for people using the toilet.
Sure,
people are
okay.
like, wow, you guys gave me the option to do this.
Well, what I got out of your story is you desperately want money. So I'm just looking for reasons now for them to give them.
Can't you get that about every fibre of my being? Well, today on the show, first of all, returning guests. It's been a while since he's been on here. You know him from Eurovision and from Have You Been Paying Attention? Please welcome back into the Little Dum Dum Club, Sam Payne.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah.
Carl, great to be back. It did take a while to be invited back, but it's great to finally be here.
To be fair, the times I've brought up with you to come back to the podcast, you said, direct quote, why would I? I've already done it.
Yeah, as in there was nothing else to talk about. There's not like
Oh, now you've found something. You've done something.
Yeah.
No. I just brought someone whose stories you may not have heard. So therefore, it'll reflect better on me.
The person you brought with you, of course, you know him from The Late Show, from Have You Been Paying Attention? Please welcome into the Little Dum Dum Club for the first time, Santo Cilauro.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think you're overestimating your milk bar guy. The milk bar guy clearly wants to be on television. I think that he's set up the tip jar there because I reckon he's got a crowbar sitting underneath his little desk. He's waiting for someone who looks a little bit like you to actually just go, he's not looking, I'm going to go for this. And the guy's going, great, bang. And then Channel 9 News that night. This man showed, great, when a crook came in and started taking his money, this guy got more than he bargained for.
Yeah.
I suspect he wants to be on television in black and white.
Well, you know the area well, Santa. You were just saying as you came in, this is where you grew up or where you went to school.
Well, I was having this discussion with Sam. I don't know whether this is my old stamping ground or my old stomping ground.
Yeah.
I vote stomping. I think it's stomping.
I'm with Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I did used to stomp around. Actually physically stomped. So it's like chomping and champing it a bit. I mean, which one is it? I think it's champing. But I would say that this is my old stamping ground. Stamping ground. Yeah, I went to school just around the corner. It's closed down now. Most of the Christian brothers are about 5 years off parole. So good luck to them when they get out here.
What was the name of the school?
St Thomas's, Clifton Hill, Christian Brothers. And so it was a great school. I enjoyed it. We had a handball court. That was entertainment at the school.
Yeah, handball. Is handball still a thing? Like handball was definitely the big sport when I was at school. Is it still a thing?
Really? It was the big thing?
Yeah.
And our school was really good at it around the corner. There's an excellent. I bet you it's still there, that handball court. It's still a beauty.
But when you say your school was really good at it, how good can you be at handball though? Like,
if it's the only sport you can play, I reckon you're pretty good at it.
I've just realised what it is now.
You know that one where you hit against the wall?
Well, we used to call it. It was called handball downball.
Oh, yeah, downball, of course.
That's what it's called.
That's what I called it as well. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Is this what you're after, Tommy, when you invited me back?
Yeah,
That
this is
sort
the kind of
quality,
yeah,
you
this is
know?
the kind of gold
Sweet
we're after.
content we were after.
Really,
I'm
yeah.
actually hosting a charity day for my old primary school, which is just around the corner. St John's here on Queen's Parade.
Wait, a charity day for the school that closed down.
No,
You're a little bit late.
It was
This may be a Nigerian scam.
Yeah. He's taking a tip jar, so don't worry, it's all going to be fine.
There you go.
Give us a tip every time you get one in downball.
Why do you say yes to these things?
Well, it's hard to say no. But it was the primary
So
school,
easy
because
to
you used
say
to go to
no.
primary school with the nuns, and then when you got to a certain age, then they separated the boys and the girls. The boys went across the road. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Forget, I'm old enough to have remembered the moonwalks. I got home that day because we lived in Collingwood. Our school was here in Clifton Hill. My dad was home from work. Never happens. And I'm going, well, what's going on? And he goes, man just walked on the moon. And I never forget my grandmother goes, no, he didn't. It's just Italian, this Italian thing. And no, it's all fake. They faked it up. It never happened. And I remember my dad turning around and saying, great, you believe the wrestling is real, but the moonwalk is fake.
That's great. Your nan's the original truther. That's great.
Yeah.
What does she think about 9/11?
Yeah.
Oh, fake.
What's her opinion on jet
Kubrick
fuel
made it.
melting steel beams?
So what? So the nuns wouldn't let you watch Man Walking on the Moon?
No.
For what reason?
Yeah.
Because they thought it was like the work. They thought it was almost sacrilegious. It was almost like Galileo with the telescope. Yeah, nah, we don't mess with what God invented the Earth, and I don't know about this moon thing.
Is it a
agree.
little bit like Ayers Rock or Uluru, where now we realise you're not allowed to, you shouldn't be walking on it for respect's sake and whatever? Is that the moon? Are we offending
they
someone
were
by
just
walking on the
insane.
moon?
No,
Yeah.
those nuns were just nuts. They wouldn't let us do anything. They were terrible.
That is a good theory. We one day find out when we make contact with other life that it's just hella racist. Just be up there whacking flags in it.
Yeah, playing
Hit some
golf.
Golf off it.
Yeah.
Is this the demographic you're after, though? The moonwalk anecdotes?
Conspiracy nuts. Yeah.
We're not the Colbert Report, all right?
All right.
There's a reason why we're in this set and not like a proper one, because we talk about down ball and walking on the moon.
I love it.
We have mentioned this, but yeah, we're a sweet lead into New Country Hour on Channel 31. So after this, if you don't switch over quick enough, there is some primo boot scooting going on.
Wait a minute, New Country. What was the old one like? It's the New Country.
Well, that was on before us at
Okay,
9
right,
o'clock.
okay.
Yeah.
I also want to say this, Sendo, that I feel like our podcast has finally reached some form of legitimacy. It's a grown-up podcast as of today, because you are officially the first guest that we've had to do a release form for. So I feel like this is a proper podcast now.
Oh,
we're finally talking to someone with legitimacy.
I've been signing those things for years. I still don't know what they are.
Yeah.
I just get told you've got to sign a release form before you do. Oh, yeah, of course, I'll have to do that. What?
This is because of his lawyer background, by the way, which some people don't know, that he was a lawyer and Tommy Gleister
They
was a
call
lawyer.
me the handballing lawyer. That's what they call me.
And Ed Cavalier and I always say that what about that law firm that the world has missed out on because of some little ridiculous comedy career?
Yeah.
Gleister and Cilauro lawyers.
Attorneys at law.
Well,
imagine that.
Well, this is how much I knew about release forms. I was like, okay, so I need to sign what? And it's like, you don't need to sign anything. No, I'm not releasing my own podcast.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing this up for the need for content, but what you've basically done is just let every previous guest know that they can now sue us for releasing their likeness.
No of our
without
previous
permission.
guests ever listened to our podcast, so don't worry about that.
We should take a photo at the end of the four of us, just over the release form.
Like
the
football
official
club
signing
style.
ceremony.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we get someone to do a painting of that photo, and that's the image that we release for
And
the
we'll hold up
podcast.
the Dum Dum Club T-shirt next to us. Yeah, that's great. Now we've been going a while now, and we've got. Well, again, we mention this a lot on the show. We don't call them fans; we call them people who are aware of our show because they listen. They don't particularly tell us that they love the show. They show their love in a form of abuse and prank phone calls and horrible insults sent to us via Facebook and Twitter.
Nice.
But they are aware of us, and so that's the nicest thing we can say about them.
But
So
they do tolerate the show.
Yes,
they
exactly,
tolerate it. Okay,
yeah.
as long as they tolerate it, that's okay.
This is the thing, we look at the numbers, and there's a lot of them out there,
Yeah.
and the numbers are getting more all the time, more people coming to the show.
Sure.
It's great. It'd just be nice if one of them could seem like they like us in any way.
Yeah, yeah.
The numbers go up and I go, cool, maybe these people will be nice to
What,
us.
do they just hate listening? As in
It feels like they've got their arm behind their back being forced to listen to a podcast in some way, and they're expressing that dissatisfaction at us.
Are we being used in actual torture, do you think? Are we like the new waterboarding where people just get strapped down and forced to listen to hours of this?
We've been renamed in the US as Guantanamo FM. So, yeah, I ran into someone the other day. I was on the tram and I noticed that this girl was sort of looking at me and I'm like, okay, right, well, it could be just girls looking at the Chan man. You know, that sort of happens all the time. So it could be just that.
Or
I got off the tram and this girl sort of waited for me to walk past and said, Little Dum Dum Club? And I'm like, yes. She goes, are you Carl? I went, yeah. She goes, oh, right, great. You know, I listen all the time, great. I've been listening for 6 months or whatever. I've listened to all of them. It always comes out like this. It always comes out like, I've been listening for a long time. And it's like, you haven't said that you like it yet, but you've been present.
is that all you're waiting for?
Yes. So I was like, okay, well, tomorrow we've got this one on and these guests are going to be on. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, and it's a really good one. And the week after that, this is going to happen. And Tommy's going away to Tokyo and all these things are happening. And she goes, yeah, right. Anyway, I'm a bit busy. I'm just going to go over there now. And then she walks over like, honestly, 5 metres. And I realise we're just waiting for the same tram. Like, she hasn't gone to do anything. She gets on a different part of the tram.
Different carriage.
Yeah.
See,
there was only 2 carriages on the tram.
Started
obviously.
listening to another podcast. This is why, by the way, I don't catch public transport anymore.
Oh, it's the best. It's the only reason I have any content for this podcast.
Wait, who got off the tram first at the end?
She did.
Was there any eye contact
She
at that
didn't
point?
even wait for the tram to stop.
Tuck and roll.
Tommy, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this, but you just came back from... Generally means no, but I'll push on. You just came back from Japan.
Yes.
You've been single for how long now?
Like 9 months.
9 months?
But who's counting? Really miss her.
Relationship stopped on a tram.
Yeah, I guess you could
Conversation
say...
was awful.
In the same way, it's like you're going out and then she just goes, I'm going to stand over
gonna
there
stand
now
up.
forever.
Yeah, look, I don't want to go into details about the breakup, but I guess you could say we just got on different carriages, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And you said to me, you're 2 days away from going to Tokyo, and then you said you got a message from the ex-girlfriend saying, I want to pick something up because I'm off to Tokyo
Yeah.
in 2 days.
It's not that weird. I mean, I got my flights on a Jetstar sale that was like a very limited travel period.
Right.
So, that would have been a lot of...
Jetstar's an airline.
I know. Yeah.
It's the airline that you catch when you're contemplating putting a tip jar up the front of your live podcast so that you
Gotcha.
can
Yeah,
bring in more coin.
yeah.
That would have Jetstar would have a tip jar up the front of their plane, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they're not far off.
Yeah, well, there's one. I wouldn't mind tipping that if the pilot does a good job.
Oh,
The
really?
stakes are high enough for that one. At the end of the flight, I'd tip the pilot.
Yeah,
See, this is
sure.
one point we're
If he
tipping the
gets-
wrong
if he
things. Yeah.
gets me to safe ground.
Exactly.
I'm happy to tip.
It's like booking Greg Fleet for a gig. He wants the money up front, but there needs to be enough money at the end for him to bother doing the job properly. I know I'm allowed to say that because I've done that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Santo, if you're still practicing law and if G Fleet came to you and went, I want to sue a podcast, what would
Yeah.
your response be?
Well, I'd say, hang on, did you sign a release form? I'm telling you, give me a look. Okay, here's the problem.
Did you see your ex in Tokyo?
My friend who I was with, we were walking through Tokyo Station trying to find this strip of ramen restaurants. And I freaked out and I went quiet for like 5 minutes. And then my friend's like, what? I'm like, because I thought I'd seen it. Like,
Oh, right.
Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
And that was almost like, if I tell my friend this, I'm going to appear crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just went a little quiet because I think I saw my ex-girlfriend in an underground train station in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And not even like I thought I saw her like in a mirror, like looking back at me.
God.
It's like, this is like
You thought you
insane.
saw your ex-girlfriend in a mirror. How much did she look like you?
It spoiled 5 minutes of the walk through the train station where I
that's
felt like
okay.
I was having a panic attack.
Right.
Because this is the other thing. So I have high blood pressure. I take pills for it. And
But why do you have high blood pressure? Because
It's
I'm not talking
genetic.
out of school, but you don't do anything all day.
First of all, I do stuff. Second of all, it's genetic.
Right.
I've got it from me dad.
All right.
Just like $50 in my bank account. Yeah, got me.
Hey, it's not nice to preempt my sledges, all right?
I found it stressful. When I went to Tokyo, it was my dream to take my dad to a World Cup.
Oh, yeah?
So I
Right.
took my dad to the World Cup in 2002. So most of my time in Tokyo with my dad was basically trying to find Italian food or a coffee.
Right.
That was so stressful. It was all about what do we do? Where are we going to go now? Well, how am I going to eat? And he tried so hard to eat all the stuff. But the thing is that my dad was 72. He's 85 now. But at the time, it was the first time in my life where you realise at a certain age they become your kids and you're basically telling your dad what to do and stuff. And I literally floated above my body and heard myself say to my dad down in an underground station, no, Dad, we will not be stopping to go to the toilet, okay?
Well, it sounds like it's changed a fair bit in 13 years because I saw tons of Italian food there.
Yeah, I think he was more looking looking for things like porchetta. He was actually,
La porchetta?
La porchetta.
La porchetta, yeah, that kind of
Oh, there's
stuff.
only one.
We've really dropped off in the advertising market recently. Remember they used to have the little jingle that used to be on the ads all the time? I'd never see
Well,
any ads
didn't
for
the
La
founder
porchetta
of it,
anymore.
he came to a bit of an end at St Kilda Junction, didn't he?
Oh, really?
Well, there was a motorbike accident. He got killed in a motorbike accident.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think things have quietened down since then.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the traditional way pizza owners go.
I want to ask you. I think this is my guess with you. Have you never done any had another job apart from comedy? Have you both basically? Oh well, Sam, you would have had another job. No, because
we've had very different.
Oh no, well you know what? Because we were talking before on your Wikipedia page, which you've dispelled before we talked. It said you went into radio at age 18. So I thought, oh, well, you've just been showbiz
18.
Sam all your life.
When the Wikipedia page says he went down to whatever it is, started in radio at 18.
It said you played for under 19s Collingwood Football Club.
He was a champ.
Were you an actual champ?
No, I went down to 3CR radio station at the age of 29.
Right.
Yeah,
29.
So I don't know why they say
That's
18.
off by a lot.
Well, that's Wikipedia for you.
So what happened in the missing 10 years?
Yeah, the missing 10 years. There's a doco.
that you're now having
not
to
a good
account. You're now having to account for time that's based on something that someone's made up on you on your Wikipedia. Like we're saying it's your fault. So where were you that whole time?
I was in Tokyo for 10 years looking for Italian
Looking for
coffee.
ramen.
No, I was. What did I had jobs and I was playing footy.
What jobs did you hold down?
I worked at the spaghetti tree.
Did
as a
you?
waiter.
Oh,
Did you?
Yeah,
nice.
I actually worked there at the same time. We did about a 2-month kind of crossover when she was just finishing and I was just starting with Julia Zamiro.
Oh.
She was a waitress
You
there.
remember her? Yeah,
Yeah.
she was a
Yeah.
waitress there.
Wow. Spaghetti tray, a breeding ground for SBS.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Wow.
There was that. But I only did because of footy, where I was paid a small amount. I didn't have full-time jobs. I didn't.
How much did you get paid?
The most I got paid in 1 year in the country was like 400 cash a game.
Oh, really?
Which meant I'd go and I wouldn't train or anything.
Mum used to give me 50 cents a goal in the under 9s.
Yeah, well, Tom
Did you really?
Garley had me 450
And
cents a goal as well.
No, but you'd get a bonus. You'd get a bonus if you played well, wouldn't you?
There were rewards at the end of the day, but if you were a paid player like from Melbourne, going up there, it kind of would seem weird to get the $50 voucher to Mitre 10 as well.
Oh, really?
Right.
They would give it more to the locals.
Well, I played in provisional league for Melbourne University, and I used to because I grew up playing for those ethnic clubs as a junior. You'd end up playing for the Melbourne University in provisional league, and you'd play against Thomastown, all these sort of ethnic kind of clubs that would. The tirades of Italian against you, and then you turn around and answer back in Italian, and sorry, we didn't realise you were Italian.
You went rolling up to games like it was stroking a white cat, just to let them know that you were the real deal.
Not quite.
Is that an Italian stereotype?
Yeah.
Having
I
a
think
white
that's
cat on hand?
That's an evil henchman
Yeah.
stereotype, I think.
No, that's the Godfather. That's the
Oh,
definitive.
Did he
okay.
have a white cat?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Did he? You're thinking of Dr. Evil.
I'm telling you, Marlon Brando had a cat. On the day of his daughter's wedding, I'm telling you, he had a
He had
cat
a
in that
cat.
little room.
You're right,
Luca
actually.
Brazzi's out the front
You're
waiting
right.
to go in.
Yeah.
The Godfather was a movie.
There was a horse's head.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that.
Thank you. The horse's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not that bit.
That was the same movie.
Okay. Same movie.
I had lunch with, who was the guy that I had lunch with?
Abe Vigoda.
Abe Vigoda.
Oh.
Oh,
Abe
yeah.
Vigoda, who was...
Wait. Instead of stories about the spaghetti tree, bring the Vigoda earlier. Abe Vigoda was in The Godfather. He played Tessio.
And this-
What did you do?
No, we went. There was we just went to the Friars Club. We went to the Friars Club in New York.
Oh,
Just
wow.
got strangely, I had no idea what it even was.
Yeah. Sam, how many
And
carbonaras did you have?
I tell you what. Oh, the spaghetti carbonara, fettuccine alfredo. Wow, what a menu it was.
And you said you got the Mitre 10 voucher or not?
What did you buy at Mitre 10?
Oh, so many things. But, mate, we'll get back
No.
to-
So were you the kind of like, your brother is obviously a bit of an achiever in the family. Were you considered the guy? Were you considered the pang that never is like, okay, look,
Oh,
he'll
yeah.
get there eventually?
Who's your brother?
Panga. He's not Panga. The
Oh,
Panga.
sorry.
He's that important in the Pang family that the brother's called Panga. even though
He
there's
has to call him Panga.
Even though there's another brother
Panga.
who's also called Pang, he's not allowed to have the Panga.
We were talking merch at just before we started recording. And
By the way, we'll get back to the Vagoda story.
No, it's not
and
worth it.
you said you've got a thing signed by Rodney Rude?
Rodney Rude. Oh, yeah. Oh, you were talking about merch. What were we talking about merch for? Oh, this is before we started. But I was telling Santo that this is last night. I went to see Rodney Rude about 3 or 4 years ago at the Doncaster Shopping Town Hotel. See Rude do his show, 2 hours.
2
I
hours.
don't even know that the show's over. There's no official thank you very much, everyone, da-da-da-da. You knew the show was over when he went behind the curtain and just pushed out this massive trunk full of merch. That's how we knew the show was over. And then so my brother, Panga, hilariously goes...
You call your brother Panga, by the way.
Everyone calls him Panga.
Right,
Panga.
okay.
He's the high achiever. And
You don't even get to use your own name anymore around your brother.
No.
Wow.
There's only one.
Yeah. You've never even won an episode of Have You Been Paying Attention, you fucking loser.
Well, I'm trying. These questions are so hard.
Get Panga on.
Yeah, we will get
Yeah.
Panga on.
Pang
I
v
love
Pang.
Panga. Everyone
The
loves
showdown of the
Panga.
century.
Yeah.
That won't work, by the way. It's gonna be
Panga
a
has
show.
actually been on Total Football. He's made a couple
Oh,
of
yeah,
appearances.
yeah.
He's made a couple of
He
appearances.
played my limo driver once.
What was the demo like at the Rodney Rude gig?
I did. Well, Panga was there, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
There was
heard
a
about
couple
that.
other of my mates, one's a doctor, who did look around at the demographic and the audience. Yes, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I reckon I'm the only dual specialist in the audience. And I had to give it to him.
Let's go back to Abe Vigoda at the Friars Club.
What was the demo like at that?
Basically, there was a guy. I was just my wife and I just lived in a basic like an apartment for a couple of weeks, and the owner of the whole building was so bored with his own life that he just was saying hello to anyone who lived in his building, and his name was. I'll never forget it. His name is Alan, A-L-A-N, Alan, A-L-L-E-N. And he would always say to me, hey, my name's Alan, but I'm not from Wagga Wagga. He'd always say that, and I figured there's something sort of slightly shticky about him, clearly. And he used to have a seafood restaurant somewhere where all the comedians used to go to, and his best friend was Henny Youngman.
Oh, wow.
And
The one and only.
The one and only, yeah.
Yeah.
So he basically said to me, he kept on saying every day, I'm going to take you to the Friars Club, right? And I'd go, we should do that. And I had no idea what he was talking about. So I started thinking, geez, I must find out what this Friars Club thing is. So I found out and I said, hey, look, I'll come with you. And we basically went along and he said, do you mind if we pick somebody up on the way? And it was Abe Vigoda, who's, if you see the Godfather movies, you'll know who it is. The guy with the long face, dark.
When you're in Alan's car and he stops and Abe Vigoda gets in,
I freaked.
Yeah.
I go, oh my God, that's amazing. Mind you, the whole thing was totally surreal because Alan, who's not from Wagga Wagga, he was a shaky kind of, so he had some kind of Parkinson's kind of stuff. And my job was basically, he would always tell me to have a look down to see whether he's pissed his pants. So that was basically my job whenever we went out. He'd go, I've just been to the toilet, can you just check? Because I don't know whether I've leaked all over myself. So it wasn't that glamorous. But yeah, so we went to this place and it was totally insane. And he kept introducing me as, this is the funniest man in Australia.
Oh,
For
great.
no, I mean, it's not as if I was on a tram telling people how great I was.
Yeah. How many people are bailing on conversations with you at the Friars Club?
Yeah, they went and sat on a different table and they just said, we'd like to sit here. But it was a very weird day.
It's amazing. It's so
full
old school
circle, every
showbiz.
now and then on the shows we work on, Santo gets me to check if he's pissed his pants. It's really nice. It's
All right. Yeah.
Well, guys, I think that's just about all the time we have for the Little Dum Dum Club this week. Sam Pang at Santo Cilauro, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
Tommy. Thanks, Carl.
Is there things coming up? Have you been paying attention Mondays on Channel 10?
Channel 10, on Channel 10, that'll be out, till the end of the year.
After MasterChef is
After
the
MasterChef.
official.
I tell you what is coming up, second series of Utopia on
Yes.
Channel 2.
Oh, yes, with
Channel
a lot
2,
of
yeah, on
friends
Channel
of the
2.
show are appearing on
Yeah,
it.
Limo, Celia, Luke,
Yeah. Lukey, yeah. So that'll come up probably in about a month's time, I'm guessing.
Guys, we've got our live show happening Adelaide and Perth. on-
October 17 and November 18, I believe.
Yep. That's all that we've got for this week. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya, mates.